second online service. We're so glad you can join us here this evening. It's been another hectic week. Different things have been happening again with the government, and as you can see, we're now gathering in our church at the moment, but we've just been totally blown away by like how we're still managing to remain relevant, how we're still managing to be part of the community and obviously part of our church, you know. And we've been looking through our YouTube channels and looking through some Facebook things, and you know, from when we first started this journey, we weren't sure if we were even going to manage to get something off the ground, and we put our first pre-recorded service online, and we've just been amazed by how much folk have really encouraged us, how much folk have enjoyed it for our own church, and further afield have been messages for almost all over the globe, so not only St Combs and even only Buchan, all over the world, and been encouraging messages for our congregations. So we've really missed you. It's been so fine to see us. Local pastors in the area have been encouraging as well, saying keep going, you're still making an impact. And then obviously Friday just passed, young Ross Benny, he got on our Facebook and he went Facebook Live for the first time, live for his own living room, and that was so well received, you know, and it was a beautiful time of praise and worship, and our own church was really encouraged, but also again the Buchan area and further afield was engaging with us and telling us just how much they loved it. So that'll probably be something that will continue. And like I mentioned earlier, things have changed, haven't they? We were told we're not allowed to gather. I'm in my living room at the moment. Later on, you're going to see the lyrics there, going to be somewhat different. Then we're going to be coming back here, and then we're going to be away somewhere else for a prayer. But it's brilliant that we're managing to use so much people in our church, and folk are really stepping up and saying, look, we want to be involved, we want to help, we want to do our best we can. We're so grateful for guys like Ross and Amy. You know, they're now very technically minded. Ross mentioned that in his video. If you're not sure what I'm speaking about, go back and have a look at our Facebook page. There's an hour's worth of praise and worship. You know, we Ross, he's leading some worship, and also his niece Amy for helping us out the first time we tech. You know, and folk are really putting their time and effort into things so that we can remain relevant with our church, but also as part of our community. And we're really blessed to be a part of this. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you could join our Facebook page as well, and we'll try and keep you up to date as best we can. Modern technology, some folk kind of liked it, some folk have embraced it, some folk are being forced to embrace it, aren't we? Even at our church service on a Sunday, again we kind of gather. As part of our morning service, there's usually a lovely time for somebody cries out a favourite Bible chapter, and everybody takes an opportunity just to read in a few verses if they'd like. And we're trying to do it with WhatsApp, and it's a wee bit clunky, but we're getting there. And again, it's been lovely to hear folks' voices. Some of us are seeing each other quite a lot, so obviously I live with Fee and Ellie, and some of us are getting involved with video calling, so we're grateful for guys like Martin and our media team, and keeping us right via WhatsApp video calling and checking levels on guitars and amplifiers and different things. We've downloaded new software. We need to get involved with CCLI, make sure we've got licenses for broadcasting now. If I would have thought this, you know, 5 years ago our church started a brilliant journey, and even 5 weeks ago this just seemed like madness. We've been speaking about doing things with living rooms and all different types of things, but hey, we're still believing that God is in control of this, and we're grateful that you guys can join us and you can be encouraged, and we really hope that you enjoy our service this evening, and yeah, thanks very much for joining us. Have a great time. Thanks.
Praise thy faithfulness, O God my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassions they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever wilt I've heard 1,000 stories of what they think you're like, but I've heard the tender whisper of love in the dead of night, and you tell me that you're pleased and that I'm never alone. You're a good, good father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. I've seen many searching for answers, far and wide. I know we're all searching for answers. Only you provide, 'cause you know just what we need before we say a word. You're a good, good father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. Love so undeniable, I can hardly speak. Peace so unexplainable, I can hardly think as you call me. Deeper still as you call me. Deeper still as you call me. Deeper still into love, love, love. You're a good, good father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You're a good, good father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. like no other. I've known you as a father, I've known you as a friend, and I have lived in the goodness of God. Yeah, all my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. Every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. With my life laid down and surrendered now, I give you everything. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. With my life laid down and surrendered now, I give you everything. Your goodness is running after me. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Yes, I will sing of the goodness of God. Yes, I will sing of the goodness of God.
Well, welcome. Thank you for having me wherever you are, in your home or on the bus. I'm really honoured to be invited into your life just now, and I'm inviting you into my home on behalf of St. Combs Assembly of God here, and we just wanted to connect with you. We miss you all, our little church, everyone all around about, and all the people all over the world who are watching. Hi Mum in New Zealand. It's just lovely to connect. Isn't it amazing that even though we are in lockdown, we've been in lockdown now since Monday evening, and it's been a tough week. It's been a really big change to all of our lives. I've been working from home. I'm a primary teacher, so I've been trying to connect with my class and on a daily basis, and I've also had my little girl at home as well, Ellie, and she has been doing her jobs as well, so trying to keep on top of that. It's just been a big juggling act. Bob's managed to get in and out to his work as well, he being a key worker as well, so we're all busy and trying to keep on top of things, but it's causing a lot of pressure for a lot of people this week, and a lot of people, we're just, I guess, putting things in place for what is to come. We're looking at what is to come here. I think the height of it hasn't really hit us yet, but we are planning and preparing for when it does. And we are really thinking about the people who are right in the midst of it just now, and we're praying for people to just stay strong, be resilient, and we're really just thinking of them. People are going through a really difficult time in the world just now, wherever they may be, and for whatever reason, it's affecting us in all kinds of ways. So yeah, we're really thinking about a lot of people just now, and thinking about our church, and trying to connect So this is us connecting with the church here in St. Combs and around about. And it's just a real privilege. So thank you for connecting and tuning in. And I hope that you are encouraged by what I bring to you. Now, with this week being locked down, I've coped better at times, and I haven't coped at times as well. There have been flash moments where I have really struggled, and I would say that would be for most people, and when things start to get on top of us and overwhelm us, and we wonder, what do we do? What do we do now in those moments? And when it can sometimes seem a bit all too much. And we read in the Psalms, and we look in the Bible, we read in the Psalms, in Psalm 121, and the psalmist there writes, I lift my eyes up to the mountains, and asks the question, where does my help come from? And I'm sure that we have all asked that question at some point or other in the past week or two. And with these flashpoints that I've had this week, definitely, and the psalmist, I would say, I lift my eyes up to the mountains, they are in the valley as well. They are in a low place. And it's really, we need to be thinking, where do we look to? What do we do when we are in that low place? And we, as believers in God, we have a real hope in God that we can look to. And the psalmist goes on and says, my help comes from the maker of heaven and earth. My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. And I think about one really low time in my life. And I was at the time staying with my parents in New Zealand, and they live right next to a pebble beach, and it's quite beautiful. It's different to St. Combs Beach, a nice golden sand. It's beautiful here, but they've got a real a pebble beach, and I went for a walk one morning, and I was in a really low place. I was really struggling, not coping at all. And I sat myself down on this driftwood, a piece of log, just a driftwood, and I sat down and I watched. The tide was coming in at the time, and I was just focused on the tide and the chaos that the tide brought. There was messy surf, really, because the waves were crashing on these pebbles and the stony beach. It was really noisy, and I was really just fixated on this, and I couldn't take my eyes off it. And I was getting fearful, having panics. I was really caught in that moment, and I couldn't take my eyes off it. And I don't know how long I was there for, and then I had a prompting, and we would say, as believers, I know that that's the Lord speaking to me, it's God speaking to me, and I'm so grateful that I can hear His voice, that I can talk to Him through prayer, and that He talks to me. And I heard Him say, there was a prompting, look up, lift up your eyes. And at that point, I didn't need to move my eye line very much. It was just from right in front of me, lifted it slightly, and it was a beautiful New Zealand crisp winter's day, and the sun was shining. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. It was beautiful blue sky, but it was just beyond that chaos that I was so fixed on, I was so focused on, was this flat, calm sea just beyond it. And it really struck home, that psalm in Psalm 121, I lift my eyes up to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. And it really impressed on me that actually we have such a hope in God. He gives us a hope. And the hope, where I've heard a lot this week, the phrase, "this too shall pass." And if we are in a real chaotic, tense environmental situation, we can say to ourselves, this will pass. It might not be the same as life was before it. Things might be different, but this chaos, this really difficult valley moment will pass. And that gives us hope. But as believers, we also have the hope of promises of God. He gives us promises that we can hold on to. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And that's a promise in the Bible. And he says that he will never leave us or forsake us. That means that if we turn to the left, if we turn to the right, he will always be there. And he holds us in the palm of his hand. And that's a real comfort to us. We are grateful to God who never lets us go. And we have that hope in God. And that is a great comfort to me in these valley times that I have. And when I have had these flash moments of, it's all getting too much this week, I've withdrawn to my room, had a bit of quiet time, and really just refocused, lifted my eyes to God. He is my help in these times. Another hope that we have in God is not just here, but it's the hope of glory. And I know that he promises that when we die, we will be in heaven with him. We will be in glory. And on that day, I was thinking about it this week. It's when we're in isolation, we can be quite separate from everybody else, and we can feel quite alone. And it just really impressed on me, who am I? Who do I belong to? What groups am I? Where do I find my belonging? Where do I fit in? And I'm a teacher, and even though I don't see my pupils every day, I'm still connecting with them, and I still feel very much a part of my class and the school. We connect with the staff and the head teacher, and it's been really amazing, actually, even in this isolation, that we can connect through technology that we have, like just now. It's amazing, isn't it, that I'm connecting with you wherever you are in the world. And I find that it's a blessing, really. That some of us have maybe not thought that technology is a blessing in the past, but just now we are really grateful for the invention, the creation of what technology has become and how we can use it. And so I belong really to that. That's a feeling of belonging that I have. Also to the church, St. Combs AOG, and it's just been a source of real blessing to me, being part of that, feeling like I belong. And I know a lot of people who attend the church, they come because they feel like they belong somewhere, and they have a place with us. And that's really special. It's a real special thing to feel that you are helping people to feel like they belong somewhere. And it's, for me, that's it's very special to me. And so even though I can't go to church on a Sunday, it was very weird this last Sunday, because it's one of our busiest days being involved in church, and we'd pre-recorded our service, and we had just to sit back and have our cups of tea and enjoy life as a family, but we were taking part, watching other church services go on, as they had recorded theirs or done theirs live. And it was really interesting. It was really good. This week we've also connected through WhatsApp, and that's been amazing. We've got this thing on a Sunday morning in our church when we did meet, that someone would call out a scripture and just say, can we read out this chapter of the Bible? And we'd all take turns, we shotties, to read a couple of verses, and then someone else would read, and then someone else. So we've been trialling that this week on WhatsApp. It's taking a wee bit of practice, but we're getting there, and it's just lovely to hear everyone's voices. It really boosts you hearing someone's voice that you haven't heard for a good while, and then they start to speak and read the scriptures, and it's really so encouraging to hear. So that's part of our belonging, even though we can't necessarily meet together in physical, we can still feel that belonging as well. So that's a real hope, and I know that I belong to the family of God. I know that I've accepted Christ as my Saviour, and I know what He has done for me, and we're away to celebrate that, and not long at Easter time, where we celebrate Jesus' death and then His resurrection. And when He died and that veil was torn, and what that means for us, that we can have direct conversation, direct link, connecting directly with God and He with us, and we don't have to go through anyone else. We can have that direct chat with God and have a conversation with Him, and He can invite Him into our situation that we're going through, like the situations I've been through this week, that I've needed Him and asked Him to help, and He's been there. And I didn't need to go through anyone. I could just ask Him, and He was there. And that happened through what Jesus did on the cross. And to be so grateful for that, I think that's something that I know people who come to our church, we're also grateful for what He's done for us and what that means. That we have a relationship with God, the Creator God, who created heaven and earth, who created us. And then we will be with Him one day, standing, and we won't be hiding behind anyone else. There won't be anyone else there. It would just be me and God. And it would be, that's the hope of glory, isn't it? Just amazing. Just amazing. So we have a hope, and the things that we're going through just now, they are difficult. I'm not saying they're not. I struggle, but it's to keep lifting our eyes. It's to keep looking to where our hope, our help comes from, and really keeping that in mind. I pray that for you this week. This coming week, that in those moments that you feel overwhelmed, in those moments that you feel this is all too much, I can't cope, I pray that you will lift your eyes up and that you will know where your help comes from. What Jesus did for us on the cross gives us the freedom, the ability to speak directly to God. And if you haven't spoken to God before, it's just like I'm talking to you now. You just say, God, help. Please help me. In the Bible, another promise is that when we draw near to God, He draws near to us. And it's so comforting to know that. I pray that wherever you are, whatever you're doing, that you will have a sense of God's love and God's peace with you just now, right now where you are. Thank you for listening. I pray that this week you will remember to lift up your eyes. God bless.
God, I look to you. I won't be overwhelmed. Give me vision to see things like you do. God, I look to you. You're where my help comes from. Give me wisdom. You know just what to do. I won't be overwhelmed. Give me vision to see things like you do. God, I look to you. You're where my help comes from. Give me wisdom. Do just what to do. I won't be overwhelmed. Give me vision to see things like you do. God, I look to you. You're where my help comes from. Give me wisdom. Know just what to do. Turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in His wonderful face, and the things of the earth will go strangely dim in the light of His glory and grace. Turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in His wonderful face.
Lord, we thank you for your word today. We thank you for the talents that have made this message possible. And we pray that you will reach into the darkness and shine your light, where you tell us in your word to be strong and courageous, not to be afraid or discouraged, for you will be with us wherever we go.